I was sitting in my home office in the Bronx staring at my monitor, but the code before my eyes was blurring. 7th year of marriage. 7 years that I thought were happy. 7 years during which I built our life while my wife Lisa built her career as an ophthalmologist. And it all fell apart because of one stupid accident with a speakerphone. 2 months ago, Lisa came home after another conference. She'd been going to these conferences a lot lately, every 2 weeks, sometimes on weekends. I didn't suspect anything bad. She's a doctor, they need to constantly learn, attend seminars. That evening she was somehow excited, fussy. She put her phone on the kitchen table and went to shower. I was cooking dinner, seafood pasta, her favorite. Suddenly her phone rang and I automatically glanced at the screen. Dennis? Who's Dennis? Before I could even think about whether to answer, Lisa apparently took the call from the bathroom phone through AirPods. But something went wrong. The speakerphone on the kitchen phone automatically turned on. Missed you, baby, I heard a man's voice. When will we see each other again? My heart was pounding so loud it seemed it would drown out everything around. Dennis, not now, Lisa whispered. He's home. That boring programmer of yours? The man laughed. Just tell him you're going to another conference. Or even better, your friend is getting married in 2 weeks, there'll be a bachelorette party. Say you're staying overnight at a hotel. Okay, I'll think of something. Her voice sounded tender, the way she hadn't spoken to me in a long time. But now, I turned off the speakerphone. My hands were trembling. The pasta on the stove started burning, but I didn't care. The next 2 weeks I lived in a fog. Pretended I knew nothing. It was easy for Lisa. She didn't even notice my change. She was busy preparing for that bachelorette party. Her friend Marina was indeed getting married, and Lisa was the maid of honor. I started investigating. As a web developer, I had certain skills. Checked the statements from our joint credit card. There were 2, I knew about one, but Lisa, it turned out, had opened another one that she didn't tell me about. Found it through our joint bank emails. There were purchases she hadn't shown me, expensive lingerie, dinners at restaurants we hadn't visited together, flowers. She was buying flowers not for our home. Dennis. I found him on Lisa's Instagram. They worked together at the same hospital. He wasn't a doctor, a dance instructor who taught private lessons. At the hospital, he ran dance therapy for stroke patients, a rehabilitation program. Handsome, athletic build, always in stylish clothes, smiling photo after photo. In the comments under his posts, Lisa left hearts and compliments. How could I have been so blind? Then I found the correspondence. I won't describe exactly how, just say that two-factor authentication doesn't always help if a person uses the same password for multiple services. The correspondence was painful. They'd been meeting for 6 months already. 6 months. All those conferences were trips with him. He wrote her some vulgar things, told her how she blossomed with him, how she's real, alive, not like with that boring programmer who lives in his virtual world. But the most painful thing was different. Another name appeared in the correspondence. Ryan. Someone Lisa had fun with at some party a few months ago. It was a mistake, she wrote to Dennis. You were away, I drank too much. It meant nothing. Dennis forgave her. What irony, she was cheating on me with Dennis, then cheated on Dennis with me in our own bed. We lived together after all, and also with this Ryan. I felt not just pain, I felt like an idiot. 7 years. 7 years I thought we were building a future together. We even talked about children, but Lisa always postponed. Career, need to strengthen my position at the hospital, then we'll have kids. The bachelorette party was supposed to be on Saturday. Friday evening Lisa started packing. Big suitcase, beautiful dresses, new lingerie. You're going to Marina's, why so many things? I asked as calmly as possible. Well, we're planning to stay at a hotel after the party, have a spa day on Sunday, she lied easily. The girls want to relax before the wedding. I see. Have a good time. She kissed me on the cheek, quickly, without emotion, like kissing a distant relative, and left. To Dennis's, of course. I knew the address from their correspondence. Saturday. I called Marina. Hi, this is Max, Lisa's husband. Sorry to bother you on such a day, but Lisa left something important for the party at home. Can I have the address? I'll drive over and bring it. Marina was surprised. Max, what exactly? All the girls are already here at my place, we're starting to celebrate. I can pass it to Lisa. My heart stopped for a moment. Lisa's already there? No, she said she couldn't come. You didn't know? She wrote me last night that she had an emergency shift at the hospital, some complicated patient. She was very upset to miss the party. I quickly thanked her and hung up. So she lied even to her friend. I wasn't ready to just come and make a scene. No, I wanted to do everything right. After all, divorce isn't just emotions, it's also a legal process. And I wanted everything to be clean. The next few weeks I collected evidence. Photos from surveillance cameras near Dennis's building. Yes, I hired a private detective. Didn't want to but needed irrefutable evidence. Correspondence, saved everything. Credit card statements. I even installed a tracker app on her phone under the guise of a secure family app. She agreed, suspecting nothing. Lisa continued living a double life. At home she was cold, distant. We practically had no sex in recent months. Tiredness, work, hormones, there was always a reason. But in correspondence with Dennis she was passionate, alive. I also learned more about Dennis. He was 4 years younger than her. She's 33, he's 29. Not married, rented an apartment in a not-so-great area of the Bronx. Worked in several places, hospital, private dance lessons, sometimes nightclubs. Dreamed of opening his own dance studio, but didn't have enough money. And that's when I came up with a plan. I created a fake investor profile on social media. Very convincing, with professional photos, bought stock images of a successful businessman, posts about investing in small businesses, reviews. Spent a few weeks making it as believable as possible. Then I accidentally contacted Dennis through a dance enthusiast group on Facebook. Started a conversation about looking for promising projects to invest in New York, especially interested in fitness and wellness. Dennis bid immediately. Within a few days he was already telling me about his dream, a dance studio in the Bronx. I played an interested investor, asked questions, requested a business plan. In parallel I got acquainted with Ryan. That same Ryan Lisa had made a mistake with. Turned out he worked as a bartender at a club where Dennis sometimes performed. I came there as a client, struck up a conversation, gained trust. Ryan was a simple guy, not the smartest. After a few friendly conversations and generous tips, he told me about that night with Lisa. Dude, she came up to me herself, he told me, mixing me a mojito. Said her husband was boring and her lover went somewhere. Wanted to let loose. We had a good time, but then she said it was a mistake, that I shouldn't tell anyone. Especially that dancer she's seeing. And you didn't tell? What? I don't need problems. And Dennis is a decent guy, didn't want to upset him. Perfect. I had information. A month after the start of my friendship with Dennis, I suggested we meet in person to discuss investments. Set up a meeting at a cafe near the hospital where he worked. Of course, I didn't come myself. Sent a letter saying I was urgently called out of town, but very interested in the project and would contact him soon. Instead, I asked Ryan, who was already in my plan, to accidentally stop by that same cafe. Ryan just had to sit there and I'd give him $200. He agreed. Dennis came, waited for the investor. Ryan entered, they recognized each other. Ryan sat down, they started talking. I sat at the next table, Dennis didn't know my face, and heard everything. How are things with that doctor of yours? Ryan asked, clearly not understanding he was playing in my game. With Lisa? Fine. Why do you ask? Just curious. She's married, right? Aren't you afraid her husband will find out? Dennis smiled grimly. Her husband is some nerd programmer. He doesn't even suspect. Immersed in his code, doesn't notice what's happening around. Ryan nodded, then, as if remembering something, added, You know, she seemed to me once, how to say it, available. Dennis became alert. What do you mean? Nothing special. Just remember she came to the club a few months ago, was kinda cheerful. We chatted a bit. Nice girl. I saw Dennis's face change. Suspicion. He's not stupid. Ryan, what are you talking about? Ryan, realizing he'd gone too far, tried to smooth it over. No, forget it. But Dennis wasn't letting go. Tell me honestly. Was there something between you two? Ryan sighed. Look, it was a long time ago. She said you guys were on a break or something. I didn't know you were still together. Sorry, dude. Dennis went pale. Got up and left without saying a word. I smiled. The first part of the plan worked. The next few days, Dennis was blowing up Lisa's phone. She was at home, trying to answer calls somewhere in the room, but I heard fragments of conversations. It's not what you think. It was before we got serious. You yourself left and didn't answer calls for a week. Their relationship cracked. Lisa became even more nervous. I pretended not to notice anything. Meanwhile, I started phase 3. I contacted Lisa's parents. Her father, a strict retired police officer, had always treated me with respect. We were buddies, watched football together, discussed politics. Her mother, a warm woman, always said I was the perfect son-in-law. I invited them for coffee without Lisa. Said I wanted to discuss something important. What happened, Max? Her father worried. Something with Lisa? I pulled out a folder with printed evidence. Correspondence, photos from surveillance cameras, credit card statements. I found out Lisa's been cheating on me. For 6 months already. With a colleague from work, a dance instructor. And not only with him. Lisa's mother cried. Her father turned red with anger. That stupid girl? Max, I don't know what to say. You're the best thing that ever happened to her. How could she? I want a divorce, I said calmly. But before that, I want her to understand what she lost. Not just me. But you, her family, her reputation. Lisa's father nodded. What do you want us to do? Talk to her. Don't say I told you. Just express your disappointment when everything comes out. I want her to know she's alone. They agreed. The time came for the final blow. I organized a family dinner. At our house, invited Lisa's parents, her younger brother, my mom. Dad died a few years ago. My sister. Lisa was surprised but couldn't refuse. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and click like if you enjoy this story. I always read your comments and analyze which stories you like best so that I can create better stories. Thank you. I will continue the story. At the table, everyone was nice, talked about everyday things. And then I stood up and tapped a spoon on my glass. I want to make a toast, I began. 7 years ago I married a woman I thought was the love of my life. 7 years I believed we were building something real, solid. But the other day I learned the truth. Lisa went pale. Everyone at the table froze. Lisa's been cheating on me. For 6 months already. With a man named Dennis, a dance instructor from her hospital. And not only with him, there was another one, Ryan. Lisa's mother cried for real. Her father frowned, looking at his daughter with disappointment. Lisa's brother, who I was friends with, turned away. My mom came up to me, put her hand on my shoulder. Lisa tried to say something. Max, it's not like that. I can explain everything. Explain what? I was calm, cold. How you lied to me for 6 months. How you spent our money on your lover. How you even cheated on him. I pulled out a folder, laid out photos and printouts of correspondence on the table. Here's the evidence. Everything needed for divorce. The lawyer is already waiting for my call. Lisa cried. Max, please let's talk in private. No, I shook my head. The time for talking is over. I wanted your family to know the truth. So my family would know why we're getting divorced. So there wouldn't be gossip, speculation. Only the truth. Lisa's father stood up. Lisa, pack your things. Today you're coming to us. And don't you dare shame this family anymore. The evening ended quickly. Lisa, sobbing, packed a suitcase and left with her parents. My relatives stayed, supported me. We talked long into that night. The next few weeks were chaotic. Lisa tried to contact me, wrote messages, begged for a meeting. I ignored. My lawyer had already filed divorce papers. But I wasn't finished yet. Remember Dennis? I contacted him again as an investor. Apologized for the previous no-show, suggested meeting again. He, despite problems with Lisa, still wanted money for his studio. We met. I came in person this time. He didn't know who I was. Dennis, I said, shaking his hand. Finally met. I'm Maximum Ventures. We discussed his business plan. He was excited, talked about the future studio. And then I asked, listen, what about your personal life? Do you have someone? Just I always check the stability of potential partners. Family people are more reliable. He became sad. Had a girlfriend. But recently found out she was cheating on me. With some bartender. And she's married, turns out her husband is a programmer. I nodded as if sympathizing. I understand. Hard to trust after that. By the way, this programmer, does he know about you? Don't think so. She said he's an idiot, doesn't notice anything. I smiled. Interesting. Because I'm that idiot programmer. And I noticed everything. Dennis's face turned into a mask of horror. What? My name is Max. I'm Lisa's husband. And you, friend, slept with my wife. He tried to stand up, but I stopped him with a gesture. Sit. You owe me nothing, Dennis. It's Lisa who chose to betray me. But you know what? She betrayed you too. With Ryan. And not once, she told him you're too clingy, that she wants freedom. I pulled out my phone, showed him screenshots of correspondence between Lisa and Ryan, which I fabricated. Yes, I created fake correspondence based on what I knew, morally questionable, but I was in revenge mode. She used us both. Me for stability, money, housing. You for emotions, passion. And Ryan just for fun. Dennis was in shock. I didn't know. Now you know. And you know what else? She's pregnant. This was a lie, but I wanted to add fuel to the fire. What? She didn't say. Because she doesn't know whose it is. Maybe yours. Maybe Ryan's. Maybe even mine, though we barely slept together in recent months. Dennis went pale. That's impossible. It's possible, friend. And now you can either run from this problem or try to figure it out. But I'm warning you, she's a manipulator. She'll use you and throw you away like she used me. I stood up, leaving him sitting with his mouth open. The trial went quickly. The evidence was irrefutable. Lisa didn't deny the infidelity, asked for forgiveness, cried. But I had a good lawyer. We agreed on a divorce without alimony. We had no children. I kept the house. It was registered in my name, bought before marriage with my mother's money, and Lisa took her things in her car. But the nuclear revenge wasn't in this. The real revenge was still ahead. I knew Lisa worked at a prestigious hospital. Reputation for a doctor is everything. And I knew her hospital had an ethics committee that took employee behavior very seriously. I sent an anonymous letter to this committee. In the letter, I described Lisa's relationship with Dennis, the dance instructor who worked at the same hospital. Mentioned that they met during work hours, used office premises. This was half-truth. I saw in photos they were kissing near the hospital. The hospital started an internal investigation. Dennis was fired for violating corporate ethics, relationships with colleagues that affect work atmosphere. Lisa wasn't officially fired, but she received a severe reprimand, and her reputation among colleagues was ruined. But that's not all. I also contacted all mutual friends, told them the truth. Didn't lie, didn't exaggerate, just showed evidence. Most friends turned away from Lisa. She lost her social circle. And then I did the worst thing. I contacted the head of the dance studio where Dennis taught private lessons. Told about his relationship with a married woman, about how he used work contacts for personal purposes. The studio terminated his contract. Dennis was left without work, without a girlfriend, without a dream of his own studio. Lisa was left without a husband, without a lover, with a ruined reputation and disappointed parents. Ryan? I didn't touch him, he was just a tool. 6 months passed. I live in my house in the Bronx. Started working out again, renewed old friendships I'd neglected during marriage. Didn't quit my job, on the contrary, got a promotion because now I could fully focus on my career. Lisa, according to information from mutual acquaintances, lives with her parents. She still works at the hospital, but her career has stalled. No plans for advancement. After the scandal, no one wants to be associated with her. Dennis moved to New Jersey, where he found work at some small fitness studio. The dream of his own business died. Lisa tried to contact me several times. Wrote that she'd changed, that she understood her mistake, that she loves me. I didn't respond. Not out of pride, just understood that the man who believed her 7 years ago died. In his place appeared someone else, more cautious, more cold, but also stronger. 8 months after the divorce, I met Marina, that same friend of Lisa's who had the bachelorette party. We accidentally ran into each other at a cafe in downtown Bronx. Max? She approached my table in surprise. How are you? Hi, Marina. Fine. How are you? Already married? She sat across from me. Yes, the wedding was wonderful. Too bad Lisa didn't come. Though now I understand why. We talked for about an hour. Marina told me what I didn't know. You know, Max, I always felt something was wrong with Lisa lately. She changed about a year ago. Became somehow, I don't know, selfish? Everything revolved around her, her desires, her self-realization. She even told me she envied that I was getting married because I was losing freedom. Freedom? I smiled ironically. She was married. Exactly. She said she felt trapped. That you're a good husband, but predictable, that she needed emotions, adrenaline. I didn't understand what she meant then. But now everything's clear. Marina paused, then added, after your divorce, I stopped communicating with her. Can't maintain friendship with someone who did that. You didn't deserve it. We exchanged numbers. Marina invited me to dinner with her and her husband. I agreed. Lisa's father called me 10 months after the divorce. His voice was tired. Max, can we meet? We met at the same bar where we used to watch football. He ordered whiskey, I ordered beer. I want to apologize on behalf of our family, he began. Lisa did the unacceptable. You were the perfect husband and she destroyed everything. You're not responsible for her choices, I replied. Maybe. But I feel responsible. My wife and I talked a lot after that evening. Tried to understand where we went wrong in raising her. Lisa was always the favorite, The only daughter, beautiful, smart. Maybe we spoiled her too much. Maybe didn't teach her to value what she has. He took a sip of whiskey. She's in a very bad state now. Depression, goes to a therapist. Lost you, Dennis, most of her friends. At work, people treat her coldly. Her parents are disappointed. I'm not asking you to forgive her. Just want you to know, she's paying for her actions. I know, I said calmly. And I'm not happy about it. But I don't regret it either. He nodded. I understand. You have every right. Just, if you ever need anything, know that I'm here. You were and remain a son to me, regardless of what happened between you and Lisa. We hugged goodbye. I felt a sad irony. Lisa's father turned out to be closer to me than his own daughter. Another month later, I unexpectedly met Dennis. He was returning to the Bronx for his things he'd left at a friend's. We ran into each other near a supermarket. He flinched when he saw me. Max. Dennis, I nodded. How's life? He looked bad. Lost weight, aged, tired eyes. Fine. Working in New Jersey, teaching dance. Nothing special. We stood in awkward silence. Then Dennis sighed. Look, I know you hate me. And you have the right. But I want to say, I didn't know it was all so complicated. Lisa said you were practically divorced, just hadn't formalized the papers. That you lived as roommates, not as a couple. And you believed her? I smiled coldly. Yes. Stupid, right? But she was very convincing. Said you knew about other men, that it was convenient for both of you. I really thought it was some kind of open arrangement. I didn't expect to hear this. Part of me wanted to hit him. Another part understood he was also a victim of Lisa's manipulations. She used you, I said. Like she used me. Like Ryan. She was looking for what she couldn't find in herself. Happiness, satisfaction, a sense of importance. And she used people to get it. Dennis nodded. I realized it when everything came out. She called me after you filed for divorce. Cried, said now we could be together. But I refused. Couldn't trust her. Not after learning about Ryan and her lies. Smart, I nodded. Look, Dennis, I won't forgive you for what happened. But I understand you weren't the only one to blame. Lisa made her choice. You made yours. And I made mine. He extended his hand. I'm sorry. I really didn't want to ruin someone's life. I shook his hand. You didn't ruin my life. You just helped me see the truth. For that, oddly enough, I'm even grateful. We parted ways. I felt no hatred. Only emptiness where love for Lisa once was. A year after the divorce, I met Elena. She worked as a graphic designer. We met at a web developers meetup. She was different, sincere, open, honest. We started dating without rushing. Elena knew about my story with Lisa. I told her everything, about the betrayal and the revenge. Expected her to judge me for what I did. But she said, you had the right to protect yourself. Maybe some of your actions were harsh, but she destroyed trust. And you showed her the consequences. We didn't rush into a serious relationship. We both understood I needed time to learn to trust again. A year and a half after the divorce, Lisa wrote to me. Short message, can we meet? Want to talk. I hesitated but finally agreed. We met in a neutral place, a small park near downtown Bronx. Lisa looked different. Not worse, just different. Short hair, minimal makeup, tired look. Thank you for coming, she began. What did you want to say? She sighed. I want to apologize. Really. Not because I want to get something back, but because I understand how terribly I acted. I was silent, waiting for continuation. I've been going to a therapist for a year, Lisa continued. Working on myself, trying to understand why I did what I did. I'm not making excuses, but I was unhappy, Max. Not because of you, because of myself. I didn't know who I was, what I wanted. It seemed to me that life was passing me by. That I was stuck in routine, work, home, you. And I looked for a way out, not in talking to you, not in changing something in our life, but in betrayal. You could have talked to me, I said. Said you were unhappy. We could have gone to a family therapist. Tried to change something. I know. But I was a coward. Afraid to be honest. With you, with myself. It was easier for me to lie, escape into an illusion with Dennis than face reality. She cried. I lost everything. You, my reputation, my parents' respect, friends. And you know what's the worst? I deserved it. Everything you did, I deserved it. I didn't know what to feel. Part of me wanted to hug her, comfort her. Another part, the one that remembered the pain, betrayal, humiliation, remained cold. I'm not looking for your forgiveness, Lisa said. I understand I don't deserve it. Just wanted you to know, I really regret it. And if I could turn back time, I would do everything differently. But you can't, I said quietly. No one can. She nodded. I know. Just want you to be happy, Max. You deserve it more than anyone. We sat in silence for a few minutes. Then I stood up. Thank you for being honest. It was hard to do and you did it. I don't know if I forgive you. Maybe someday. But now, I need to move on. Without you. I understand, she whispered. Be happy. I left without looking back. That was the last meeting with Lisa. 2 years have passed since the divorce. I'm engaged to Elena. We're planning a wedding in a few months. Small, intimate, only closest friends and family. I still live in the house in the Bronx, but now it's filled with new memories, good ones. Elena moved in with me 6 months ago. We cook dinners together, watch movies, plan the future. She wants children, I do too. Maybe in a year or two we'll try. Career is developing well. I got another promotion, now I manage a team of 5 developers. Salary increased, but more importantly, I feel satisfaction from work again. I hear about Lisa rarely. I know she still works at the hospital, still lives with her parents. Rumors say she's also going on dates, but nothing serious. Part of me sympathizes with her. Another part thinks it's fair. Dennis, it seems, settled in New Jersey. Opened a small dance studio, nothing grand but enough to make a living. I don't look for information about him, just sometimes hear from mutual acquaintances. Ryan? He still works as a bartender. Probably doesn't even realize what role he played in the collapse of my marriage. People sometimes ask me if I regret my revenge. About destroying Lisa's reputation, Dennis's career, our shared life. The answer is complicated. Part of me regrets. I could have just left, filed for divorce, started a new life without all this drama. But another part, the one that experienced pain, humiliation, the feeling of betrayal, doesn't regret. Lisa didn't just betray me physically. She betrayed the trust one gave her. 7 years I believed her unconditionally. And she used that to live a double life. She lied to me every day, when she kissed goodbye, when she said, I love you, when we discussed our future plans. And the worst, she wasn't going to confess. If I hadn't heard that call, if the speakerphone hadn't turned on, she would have continued lying. How long would it have lasted? A year? 2? 10? My revenge was cruel, but it was about justice. About showing her the consequences of her actions. She thought she could have everything. A stable husband, a passionate lover, colleagues' respect, parents' love. And pay no price for it. I showed her that life has consequences. That every action has its reaction. That you can't just destroy someone's life and expect everything to remain unchanged. This story isn't about revenge as an end in itself. It's about restoring justice. About how sometimes you need to stand up for yourself even if it's painful. Lisa made her choice. I made mine. And now we both live with the consequences. With my new wife, new life, new hope. She, with her disappointment, losses, realization of mistakes. Is it fair? I don't know. But it's reality. And I can live with this reality. Can look at myself in the mirror and not be ashamed. Because I didn't start this war. I just finished it. Sometimes, late at night, when Elena is sleeping next to me, I think about whether everything could have been different. Could I have forgiven Lisa? Could we have restored the relationship? The answer is always the same, no. Because trust is like a mirror. When it breaks, you can collect the pieces, but the reflection will never be whole again. Lisa broke our mirror. And I just cleaned up the pieces and built a new life. Without her. And you know what? I'm happy. Thank you for watching this video. YouTube may no longer suggest my channel to you, so subscribe to it to receive new interesting stories. You will also help the channel grow and improve the quality of its content. The screen now displays a playlist with other interesting stories that you can listen to. You can also write in the comments what stories you would like to see on the channel.